If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Shane Burgos back on the show. He returns to action next Saturday at UFC 244, Madison Square Garden, taking on Makwan Amirkhani. How are you, Shane? Good to see you, man.
I'm good, man. Ready to go. A week and a half. I'm chomping at the bit. Can't wait.
What are these next few days going to be like for you in preparation for this fight? Is it the hard training part over, or you still got like a couple more days of it?
Yeah, today was my last hard training day. I had a hard wrestling practice followed by a hard boxing rounds. So basically all my stuff is done. Tapered down for the next couple of days, and then showtime next Saturday.
It's great to have you back, coming off the biggest win of your career. I know we spoke not long after that, but, despite the long losing streak that Cub Swanson was on, beating him was a big notch on your belt, no doubt about it. In the UFC, at least in my opinion, they went in, they threw Crone Gracie at him. I don't know if it was kind of like a spot to maybe put him over, but Swanson looked very good for the most part in that fight, and he sort of derailed, Crone's hype a little bit. Does it make the win even sweeter for you, knowing that Cub still does have some gas in the tank and had that tough win over a guy like Crone Gracie?
100%. Anytime I fight somebody after I'm done fighting, I'm always rooting for him. So I'm definitely rooting for Cub. And who's not a Cub Swanson fan, right? He's a great guy. He's a great fighter. So I was definitely rooting for him. And then to see the way he fought, man, it made me proud, because that game plan was just so it was smart. He kept hitting and moving and never kept his feet planted in the same spot. Crone wanted to push him up against the cage, and he knew that, and he never stopped moving. He went left, he went right, he kept switching his stance a lot, blasted the body shots. It was a genius game plan.
It was a crazy fight. I didn't expect it to go that way. It was nuts. What did you think of that whole thing? And what do you think of Crone Gracie thinking that he won that fight?
I mean, I said this before in an interview. I mean, sometimes you think one thing and then you see the video, you might think another thing. So I don't know if you saw the video yet, but he went forward the entire time, and he's got a granite chin and he can take a body shot. So maybe he thought, we're seeing all those shots landing. Maybe they weren't affecting him as much as we thought they were affecting him. So maybe in his mind, he thought he was winning just by going forward. But I think all the big shots were landed by Cub, and I think Cub clearly won all 3 rounds, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, in terms of what you're going to be doing, you were hoping to return a little bit sooner than this. You were hoping maybe August, but now you get a chance to head back to MSG again, close to home, the Mecca, against a very tough in-game opponent. This will work out a little bit better, right?
100%, man. I can't complain. MSG is my backyard. I fought there already. Gonna have a lot of fans, a lot of friends, a lot of family there, so I'm excited to go back and perform again for them.
You had the debut at MSG last year. It had that really fun fight with Kurt Holloway and finished him in a little over 2 minutes with that nasty armbar. Does it still have that same excitement level behind it, fighting at the Garden this time around? Is it still the same feeling as it was last year?
It's more, honestly. This card is insane. This card is epic. So that it's even, it feels like a new UFC debut for me at the Garden, because this card is ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you get Makwan Amirkhani, who is going to share the cage with you in about a week and a half from right now. 2 straight wins. He's obviously an SBG guy, so there's a lot of hype and excitement around him, not just because of his skill set, but because of where he trains as well. He's very similar to you in that way. And plus, there's a lot of similarities here. Both of you are 5-1 in the UFC. After the win over Swanson, I know you're not picky when it comes to this kind of stuff. Did you feel like this was an appropriate step up in competition for you?
No, I really expected to get a ranked opponent, but I can't stress too much about whether the guy has a ranking or not. We're fighting at the end of the day. Guy has a good record. He's a good fighter. He's got a name in Europe, a big name in Europe. So me going out there and making a statement and getting a big finish win is gonna do leaps and bounds for my career anyways, regardless if he has a number or not. I expected the number, but I'm not going to sit here and cry about it that I didn't get it. I mean, I'm going to go make a statement and show that I belong to be fighting top 15 guys.
One of the reasons why I like having you on as often as I get the chance to do is because you're a big student of the game. You're a big fight fan along with being a fighter yourself. So I'm sure you didn't have to do a lot of homework early on. I'm sure you were quite familiar with Makwan. As a fighter and a fight fan, how did you react to not only just getting this fight, but getting the opportunity to share the cage against a guy with a similar record in the octagon and just a pretty exciting guy anyways?
Yeah, exactly. As soon as I got his name, I knew exactly who he was. A lot of people that, like, a lot of my teammates, stuff who we fight, like, he's not well known in America. So a lot of my friends, family, they were like, who is that? But I'm like, I know exactly who that dude is. I've seen all his fights in the UFC just because anytime it's a featherweight fight, I'm always watching it. And anytime there's a fight night or a UFC card in general, I'm watching it. So, yeah, I knew exactly who it was. It's going to be a good fight. I think as soon as we start exchanging the feet, he's going to start shooting right off the bat. I don't think he's going to want to too long with me. So it's going to be one of those striker versus grappler kind of matchups. It's going to be fun.
Have you been impressed with him? I mean, he came back after a year or so layoff, picked up a nice win in Stockholm back in June over Chris Fishgold. How did he look to you? Is he a guy that you've been impressed with, having watched all of his fights?
Yeah, he's good, man. He's good. He's got legit skills. You got to respect him. His wrestling is good. His grappling is good. His striking's okay. I think that he probably thinks he's a little better at striking than he is. And I think as soon as we start mixing it up on the feet, he's gonna realize that I can't strike with this guy. He's gonna knock me out. So I think, like I said, he's gonna start shooting right after the first couple of exchanges. So I'm fully expecting that. But if he tries to stand, tries to make a point, I would welcome that and love that.
Of course, as it seems to happen most of the time that you fight, Tiger Schulman will be well represented on this card. You got Julio Arce fighting Hakeem Dawodu, and you talked about how loaded this card is. That is the first freaking fight of the night, which is crazy. That's how good this card is. You got Lyman good fighting Chance Rencounter, which is a really super intriguing fight. It's got to be cool to share these moments with your teammates all of these times that you get to get on these cards.
Yeah, man, it's like something to put in the scrapbook, like in the mental scrapbook. It's honestly, it's awesome. We did it last year, me, Julio, and Lyman, and look, we're looking to do it again this year. Just make it a clean sweep. All three of us 3-0 with 3 big finishes. That's the plan.
One guy we haven't heard from in a while is Jimmie Rivera. Where has he been? Is he all right?
Yeah, he was hoping to get on this MSG card. That was the plan, but they couldn't get him a matchup, and then they wanted him to fight some other time short after the MSG card. But he's going on vacation. He already booked the vacation. It's kind of like a honeymoon kind of thing. So now he's sitting on the sidelines. He's waiting. He's staying ready.
If anyone deserves to go on a vacation or a honeymoon, it's Jimmie Rivera. I mean, this guy has put off so many different trips and honeymoons and vacations for the UFC. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, he earned it. He's going to Italy. So hopefully he'll enjoy that, come right back, and hopefully he gets something booked soon.
UFC 244, big event at MSG, massive main event. We're going to talk about that in a second because that's part of the reason why you're here. I love talking fights with you. But you and Makwan is one of those fights that could definitely steal the show when looking at it on paper. How do you see it all going down next weekend?
It's going to be an awesome fight. I think it's going to be a one-sided fight. I plan on smashing him and finishing him as quickly as possible. I don't want another decision. I mean, my last fight went to the scorecards and it was a split decision. So definitely not looking to have that happen again. My heart dropped hearing those judges score the fight. So yeah, I'm definitely not looking to leave it in the hands of the judges. I want to make a statement. All the pressure in the world on me. I'm the ranked guy. He's not the ranked guy. I'm supposed to win. He's not supposed to win. So I'm putting all that pressure on myself, and I thrive under the pressure. And when the pressure's on, I perform my best. So I'm looking to get him out of there as quickly as possible.
So I think it's fair to say, going to MSG, you already have the number next to your name. You beat Makwan Amirkhani. We're getting a ranked guy next, right? Like, it has to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to assume, I'd say. But, I mean, I guess nothing's a guarantee.
That's true. So let's talk about some of these fights coming up after yours, because you guys are going to go out there and have a great fight. There's so many fights we could talk about, but let's just go co-main and main here. We got Kelvin Gastelum versus Darren Till. Very interesting fight at 185. A lot of people think that Darren Till is absolutely nuts for taking this fight in his middleweight debut. When you look at this fight, how do you break it down? How do you see this fight kind of playing out next Saturday at MSG?
It's an awesome fight, man. That's a great co-main event. Super. Kelvin really should be a 170-pounder anyway, so I think it isn't that crazy of a matchup when it comes to size, because I think Darren Till is actually going to be the bigger 85er. But it's a hard fight to come off of. Like, he's just coming off that loss to Masvidal, hasn't fought in a while. So coming in as your first fight at middleweight against Kelvin Gastelum, who just put on that epic performance against Israel Adesanya. This guy is clearly the number 2 middleweight in the world. So he's going right off the bat. I mean, if I have to pick, I'm going to pick Kelvin just because the dude he's legit the number 2 best guy in the world right now. But Darren Till is legit, and I think that weight cut did affect him. So I think that 85 is going to be the more suitable weight class for him. So I'm excited to see him at that weight class. But again, if I had to pick, I'm going to have to pick Kelvin.
You talked about pressure and how you like to put the extra pressure on yourself. It helps you perform. But in terms of this fight between Till and Gastelum, who do you think has more pressure heading into it? Because you can make the argument either way. I personally think that all the pressure's on Gastelum in this fight because he's supposed to go in there and beat Till. He's coming off the 2 losses. Obviously, Gastelum's coming off that incredible fight against Israel Adesanya. Who do you think has more pressure heading into this fight?
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Everyone is writing off Darren Till, which nobody realizes that puts so much more pressure on the other fighter. Gastelum's supposed to win. Everyone's expecting him to win. Everyone's expecting him to dominate. So I think definitely the pressure's on Gastelum because, again, he has to win. Everyone thinks that. Everyone is assuming that. So that's a great question. Nobody really realizes that when you get those big favorite matchups. Still has nothing to lose. If he loses, he goes to Kelvin Gastelum, who everybody knows is legit. I mean, and it's his first fight at 85, so I think Till's going to come out. He's going to come out hard, but again, I got to pick Gastelum just because the dude is savage.
I agree. I think this is his first fight, probably in the last 3 fights, where he doesn't have as much pressure on him. I thought he had a lot of pressure in the Wonder Boy fight, fighting at home. I thought he had a lot of pressure heading into the Woodley fight, and obviously a lot of pressure in the Masvidal fight, fighting near home again. So I think this is kind of a fresh coat of paint for him.
Yeah, great way to look at it.
And of course, Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. I mean, the name value here is tremendous. You get the BMF title. I'm so fascinated to see what this thing is going to look like. 2 of the biggest names in the sport, maybe the 2 biggest names in the sport right now. I mean, this is just such a savage fight. How do you see this one going down?
Man, this is just one of those hard. If you're a hardcore MMA fan, this is one of those dream matchups. It really is. It's a fucking awesome, phenomenal fight. Great matchmaking. I'm so happy that they were able to make it happen. You know, a lot of times you get those fights that you want to happen in contract disputes and this and that. Shit doesn't happen right away. I'm happy that they banged this out really quick because Nate just fought in August, which I think that's gonna benefit Nate a lot, that he's had such a quick turnaround, not this long layoff. If I had to pick somebody, I'm a huge fan of both these guys, man. So it kind of sucks. I don't want to see either of them lose. Both of them have a lot of momentum going for them. If I had to pick someone though, I gotta pick Masvidal by decision. Dude, I mean, both of them are super tough, so I don't see either of them getting going an epic war, but I see Masvidal maybe get some takedowns and solidifying the rounds. So I think I'm gonna go with Masvidal by decision, but I just can't wait for the fight. It's one of those fights they can fight a million times, and not one time will it be boring. every million times it'll be exciting.
Do you like the idea of creating this belt for this fight? Do you think it needs anything like that? I know kind of Nate put it out in existence after his win over Anthony Pettis, but do you think this fight needs the belt? I mean, do you think this is going to be something that's going to happen over and over again, or just one and done? We're done with this whole thing.
I think it's definitely one and done just because the magnitude of the fight. It's just one of those, like I said, hardcore dream fights. But it definitely doesn't need anything, man. This could be a pay-per-view by itself with no co-main event. That's how great of a fight it is. It really doesn't need anything, but it adds a little extra. Like, we're all intrigued just to see what the hell the belt looks like. You know what I mean? We're all talking about a belt. It doesn't really mean too much, but it's making us even more intrigued. And I think a lot more people are going to buy the pay-per-view just to see the belt. So it doesn't need it. And maybe if I was a welterweight, it would rub me the wrong way. So I can kind of see how Covington and Usman are a little annoyed by it. I can definitely see that. If that's their weight class, they feel like the only belt should be their belts. But as a fan and as a guy in another weight class, it's fun for me.
and it puts more eyeballs on you naturally because people are going to be getting jacked up for that fight.
Exactly.
Well, it's always great talking fights with you, Shane Burgos. You got a big one coming up yourself next Saturday, Madison Square Garden. Very excited to be a part of it and see it and see you face to face once again, because I'll be out there as well. Before we let you go, man, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, social media, anything else you want to get off your chest, shout-outs or anything like that. The floor is yours, man.
Yeah, you guys find me on Twitter at Hurricane Shane B and on Instagram at Hurricane Shane _. And shout out to my team Tiger Shulman, Team Believe Elite Athletic Training. Thank you to all my friends, my family, my supporters, and thanks to you for the time.
You've done this a few times, haven't you?
Rattle
those right off. All right, Shane, thank you for the time, man. Always great catching up with you.
Have a good one, man. I'll see you soon.